Rebirth 90s Genius Doctor Blessed Wife Chapter 1, Vicious Mother and Daughter. Just had breakfast, but Fu Yingying's eyes were covered with gauze, and she couldn't see anything, it was pitch black. Her eyes were sore and she had a loss of appetite, so she only ate a bowl of porridge. She was the only one in the ward, and she could only walk a few steps against the wall. She wondered, she was obviously hit by a car in her leg and lying on the ground. Why did she have surgery on her eyes in the end? She was puzzled, but she couldn't do anything at this time, so she could only stay in the ward honestly. This kind of day lasted for half a month. The doctor removed the gauze and said, "Fu Yingying, the operation can only treat your left eye and your right eye is blind." Fu Yingying burst into tears, because one eye couldn't see anything, which affected her balance. She swayed and said with grief, "I obviously hit my leg, but you performed surgery on my eyes. It must be you. Stole my eyes, sold my eyes." The doctor listened, his complexion changed slightly, he took 2 steps back, and then he changed to serious and distressing words, "Inexplicable, neuropathy, this is the diagnosis given by 3 experts in our hospital, and the operation on you was saved. You have 1 eye, or you will be blind in both eyes and you can't see anything." After finishing speaking, the middle-aged doctor in a white coat left. The door to her ward was locked and she could not go out. While the cleaner was cleaning, she rushed out and ran home. The house is quiet, even the babysitter is not at home. Fu Yingying returned to her room and lay on her bed, only to feel relieved for a while. Slept for a while, went to the bathroom, and heard someone talking outside. Fu Yingying was about to push the door out, but when she heard the conversation between 2 people outside the room, she instantly fell into the ice cellar. "Mom, my eyes are already good, why do you want to be so good to that rural girl?" Fu Xiaoxiao muttered, very unhappy. Looking around this room, it was even more annoying. After the half-sister came, my mother unexpectedly let her move to the other shady little room and give this bright and spacious room to Fu Yingying. Wei Lanxin sorted out the new clothes she bought for her stepdaughter today, and explained with a chuckle, "Xiao, your right eye is good, but who knows if your left eye will get sick. When you are angry, you think as I am raising my own eyes, I won't be angry anymore." Fu Yingying listened, her back was cold, and she quickly covered her mouth and held her breath. Fu Xiaoxiao walked to her mother's side, lay on her mother's shoulders, and asked with a smile, "Mom, did your kidneys change like this?" "Haha, of course." Wei Lanxin was quite proud of it. "I heard that your father was out there with his wife and daughter. I was so angry that I was going to divorce. It happened that I had a kidney disease at that time. It was very serious and I had to have a kidney transplant. Your uncle started a lot of relationships, but failed to find a suitable kidney source. That woman came to ask for money, and she, inadvertently, had a small car accident. She was hospitalized in your uncle's hospital, but she didn't expect her blood type to be with me. It's the same. Your uncle did a bone marrow pairing while the woman was in a coma. Unexpectedly, the pairing was successful, so I immediately had a kidney change so I could live to this day." Fu Xiaoxiao listened and nodded repeatedly, "Then I will let Fu Yingying, after all, she still has a spare cornea in her eyes." Fu Yingying burst into tears and trembling all over, she never expected Wei Lanxin and Fu Xiaoxiao to be so vicious to the mother and daughter. Rebirth 90s Genius Doctor Blessed Wife Chapter 2, in order to steal her eyes. Fu Yingying thought that her mother's health had always been very good. Once, under the bewilderment of her uncle, she came to the city again to ask her biological father Fu Zhiheng for alimony. There was a car accident in the city. The driver who hit the person did not run. He paid for medical expenses, nutrition, lost work expenses, and received support from his father. At that time, she was also fortunate for her mother, because the family simply couldn't afford the medical expenses. But since my mother came back, her strength was less than before, and she often fell ill because she did less work and was beaten by that vicious stepfather. Once, while working on the mountain, my mother was dizzy and exhausted, and fell down a cliff. When she found her with the villagers, her mother had no breath. Mom passed away, desperate. Fu Yingying could only go back to her grandmother's family, but those people didn't like her, a 15-year-old poor student who could only spend money and couldn't make money. Later, Her elder uncle took her to the city to ask Fu Zhiheng for alimony. Fu Zhiheng gave several hundred yuan a month so that her grandfather's family was willing to support her. After she turned 18, she went out to work. Only has a junior high school diploma, no education, can only work on the production line, cannot make much money, all was spent by her eating and drinking. Because she doesn't spend money, the money will be snatched away by her grandparents. Because of the family's shadow when he was a child, Fu Yingying never fell in love and was lonely. Not long after her 22nd birthday, Fu Zhiheng unexpectedly found her and said that she owed her and took her back to live a good life. Fu Yingying, who didn't hurt her grandfather at home and suffered a lot of crimes outside, was eager to live a good life and wanted to change the status quo, so she believed her father's words. When came to the city, the stepmother was even more enthusiastic. She treated her better than her daughter, and asked her biological daughter to give her the room and buy her beautiful clothes, beautiful accessories, and cosmetics. From this day on, she lived a wonderful life that she could not even dream of. Father Fu Zhiheng also treats her with a pleasant appearance, which is very different from the indifferent impression in his childhood memories. She is too innocent and too obsessed with the good material life. She doesn't want to think about why her stepmother Wei Lanxin is so kind to her. There is no hatred for no reason, nor love for no reason. It turns out that everything is for her eyes. Fu Yingying couldn't control it anymore, and rushed out of the bathroom with a pair of scissors, trying to fight the vicious mother and daughter. Wei Lanxin, Fu Xiaoxiao was shocked when she saw Fu Yingying, who suddenly rushed out, and backed away and avoided. Yingying, calm down, we have something to say. Wei Lanxin avoided her while reminding her daughter, Xiaoxiao, go and hide on the balcony. Fu Xiaoxiao went to the open-air balcony. Only the low railings knew that this was not a good way to get out. Just about to rush out, Fu Yingying rushed in. She wanted her eyes, and she wanted to avenge her mother. Return my eyes, give back my mother's life. Fu Xiaoxiao avoided everywhere, screaming again, and then saw her mother also on the balcony, chasing after Fu Yingying, and pushed hard. Fu Yingying is like a kite with a broken line, falling heavily, panic before dying, unwillingness in her eyes. Her hatred has not been reported. How can I die if my mother's grudges have not been reported? Fu Yingying, who fell on her back, could still see the fierce face of her stepmother, and Fu Xiaoxiao's shocked and relieved expression. With such unwillingness, Fu Yingying fell heavily to the ground. Just when she fell to the ground, her consciousness slowly blurred, she saw a white fluffy fox running in front of her. The eyes of the white fox are clear, leaving 2 lines of tears, and there is a crescent-shaped scar on the nose. Rebirth 90's Genius Dr. Blessed Wife Chapter 3, Xiaobai repays his favor. She remembered that this was a fox in the back mountain of her hometown. She was injured. When she was picking wild fruits, she ran into a dying little fox. She simply stopped the bleeding with a handkerchief, then took it home and again sterilized and bandaged. All the eggs her mother boiled were fed by her little fox. When the little fox was recovering from an injury in her family, he named the little fox Xiaobai. After the injury healed, Xiaobai left, but every time Fu Yingying went up the mountain, he would meet Xiaobai. Xiaobai was a gracious retribution. From time to time, he gave Fu Yingying a pheasant or a hare to repay her back then. The lifesaver. Xiaobai. Fu Yingying's consciousness became more and more blurred, and she did not expect to see Xiaobai before she died. When the consciousness was blurred, a bucket of sky thunder suddenly fell from the sky and smashed on the Fu family's villa. Hearing the screams of Wei Lanxin and Fu Xiaoxiao, calling for help, and finally dying, there was no sound, and finally Fu Yingying was willing to close. Closed eyes. When she woke up again, Fu Yingying opened her eyes, and transparent shadows appeared in front of her eyes. This is Xiaobai the fox, a former friend. It's nice, there is Xiaobai on Huangquan Road with him. Fu Yingying smiled bitterly, thinking it was dead, in hell. The transparent shadow looked at Fu Yingying and said, Yingying, I'm sorry, I was crossing the catastrophe at the time, and I didn't rush there to rescue you in time. I will use the remaining power of the crossing catastrophe to send you back to your 13 years old. You are still young, I will give you a piece of space jade pendant in the end. It is my cave house. There are 2 pieces of jade slips in it, which are my inheritance. You and your mother are both good people. I hope you make good use of this space, supernatural powers, and study hard. Change the destiny of you and your mother. Finally, take a drop of blood from your right thumb and drop it on the jade pendant. You can recognize the Lord, and you can go in. Become a strong person to protect yourself and those who care about it. Goodbye, Ying. Now to start your new life, I also want to open another plane, and then go on a journey to immortality. After saying these words, Xiao Bai's transparent figure became more and more blurred, and finally disappeared. Xiao Bai, Xiao Bai. Fu Ying was sad, and when she saw the jade pendant in her palm, she realized that this was not a dream, but a reality. Becoming a strong one can protect oneself and the people that one cares about. Fu Ying thought of the death of her mother in the previous life. Her eyes were taken, she was pushed downstairs, her father's indifference, and the use of her grandparents' family. She burst into tears, bit her thumb forcefully, and dropped it on the jade pendant. Thinking about entering in the space, she appeared in a clean cave. The bright light came from Yimingzhu. 2 jade slips were placed on the small stone table of the cave. Fu Ying took one in one hand and looked through it, but at this moment, the 2 jade slips flashed white light and disappeared. Fu Ying was taken aback, only to feel dizzy, as if a lot of things were stuffed in, and fell asleep on the stone table in a daze. After a while, Fu Ying woke up slowly, but the whole person was different. Her eyes were clear, and her temperament changed a lot. The cave is huge and there are many books. Fu Ying couldn't help but sit down and read. The slurred and bitter ancient texts, with a junior high school degree, can actually understand all of them, and after reading them several times, they can even recite them. Although I haven't been memorable, it is a miracle for Fu Ying to have such an effect. Rebirth 90s Genius Dr. Blessed Wife Chapter 4, First Sight. Fu Ying saw a pen, ink, paper and inkstone on the side, then picked up the pen, and wrote the article just now on the paper according to his own feelings. Not only was one good word, but each word was written very beautifully, in a beautiful and elegant italics. Unique. My God, Xiao Bai actually prepared so many special abilities for her. If she doesn't work hard and is not strong, she will not only be sorry for being born again, but also for Xiao Bai's painstaking efforts. Until she got hungry, Fu Ying stood up and walked out of the cave. Outside was a small lush valley with a beautiful environment. There is a big banyan tree not far from the gate of the cave. There is a stone table under the tree, and a few wild fruits are placed on the plate on the table. Although I have never seen these fruits, they should be edible on the table. Fu Ying was hungry, so he picked it up and ate. Is delicious and juicy, very delicious. There were only 2, Fu Ying ate one and the other ate the other for her mother. Not far from the banyan tree, there are a few springs, gurgling clear spring water constantly. Fu Ying squatted down and took a few sips of spring water, which was cool and sweet. Was about to stroll in the valley, and heard someone shouting outside, Meihua, Meihua, are you at home? I have something great to tell you. Fu Ying didn't recognize whose voice it was for a while, but at this time he couldn't stay in the space anymore. As soon as his thoughts turned, he came out of the space. After came out of the space, Fu Ying was taken aback, and she turned out to be the matchmaker Wang in the village. This person has high cheekbones, a small forehead, a pointed chin, and a black mist in the middle of his chin. His cheeks are meatless and bones are broken. Those eyes are small, their eyes are scattered and confused, and their minds are not correct. In front of the Yin Tang, there is still a cloud of black fog, and today there is bound to be a disaster of blood and light. Fu Ying was taken aback. How could she see so much from a person's face? Especially the black mist between Wang Machpo's forehead, it can be inferred that Wang Machpo will be unlucky and bloody. Ying, where's your mother? Wang Machpo entered the yard and looked around. Fu Ying didn't have time to think about it, and saw that Wang Matchmaker was angry and replied, my mother has gone to work in the field. If you have anything to do, just tell me directly. Your mother and Li Dafu from the village next door have already set their wedding date, and it will be on the 5th day of next month. Matchmaker Wang said with a smile, seeing Fu Ying's gloomy expression, thinking that the child was unhappy, you are a girl, waiting for you married, your mother can't count on you, so don't cry and lose your face. Matchmaker Wang, if you just tell my mother a good matchmaker, but then Li Dafu is a well-known gangster, a bum, who is proficient in eating, drinking and playing. Fu Yingying sneered and retorted, I will never let my mother marry a like that. Oh, you little girl has sharp teeth. But you can't do the Lord, nor can your mother do this. You know your grandfather, grandma has already received 1,000 yuan gift from Li Dafu. If you marry, you have to marry. Matchmaker Wang has already collected 200 yuan from Li Dafu, and she has to make up everything she says. Hearing Fu Yingying's words, she ridiculed Fu Yingying without a smile. Blame you, a dead girl, for dragging oil bottles and losing money. Your father doesn't want you. Your grandmother doesn't want to see you, so your mom's idiot wants you. You still badly don't want your mom to remarry, just keep. It's just a selfish ghost to live by you. Rebirth 90s Genius Dr. Blessed Wife Chapter 5, Poor Mother. At this time, Fu Yingying was already 13 years old. If she hadn't been reborn, she might have been shocked by Wang Matchmaker's disgusting words, but she was not. After so many experiences, she had already seen it through, and was not afraid of Wang Matchmaker at all. Whoever received the dowry, who do you want to marry? Fu Yingying picked up the broom and greeted Wang Matchmaker, who was caught off guard and embarrassed. The matchmaker Wang jumped up and pointed at Fu Yingying and jumped up and yelled, You die, you wait. When your mother gets married to Li Dafu's house, I will let Li Dafu beat you fiercely. Fu Yingying picked up a small shovel, scooped up on the ground, and smashed it on Wang Matchmaker's body. If you want to marry you, the boss cheats, the West coaxes, eats the boss and drinks the West, full of lies, many women have been caught you are pitted. You are not afraid that your family will have no children or grandchildren. If you have sons and grandchildren without sex, the sky will thunder and you will not die. Seeing Fu Yingying's movements, Wang Matchmaker hurriedly backed away, feeling that the distance was safe, and she was about to scold her when she opened her mouth. It was a coincidence that the suddenly came in front of her, and a part of it flew into her mouth. In an instant, part of it fell on her clothes. Wang's Matchmaker's expression of eating was incredibly disgusting, painful, and hideous with a little unwillingness, anger, and humiliation. It's stinky, it's sick. Wang's Matchmaker ignored Fu Yingying's curse, turned and ran away, rinsing her mouth. Not far from the yard, there was a small ditch. The matchmaker Wang slipped and fell to the ground. By coincidence, she slammed her head on a few rocks next to the ditch. She knocked her teeth out and her mouth was full of blood. After Fu Yingying saw it, facing Wang Matchmaker's back, he took a bite. The bad thing was done, and it was retribution in the end. No, the blood and light disaster has really come. Seeing people leave, Fu Yingying closed the door, feeling bitter. What should I do next? Fu Yingying returned to the bedroom, looked around, and saw 2 red satin quilts on the box, which were the remarried dowry prepared by grandparents for mother. Grandpa and grandma received 1,000 yuan as a gift, all of which was ignorant, just like selling a daughter. Thinking of her mother, Fu Yingying fell into a memory. Fu Yingying's mother, Lu Meihua, is a beautiful rural girl, and she fell in love with Fu Zhiheng, an educated youth who went to the countryside. Fu Zhiheng was gentle and very tall, but he was so thin and weak, he couldn't do farm work, so he married Lu Meihua, so he could do less work and eat well. Married in 1975 and gave birth to Fu Yingying in 1977. A family of 3 is doing well. In 1977, the college entrance examination was resumed. Fu Zhiheng was admitted to the university and went back to the city to go to university, leaving them both mother and daughter in the countryside. 3 years later, after graduating from university, He Zhiheng took 500 yuan to Fu Yingying and Lu Meihua, and asked for a divorce. Of course, Lu Meihua was unwilling. He could finally live a good life in the city. He was not willing to divorce like this. But I don't know what Fu Zhiheng said to his grandfather. Grandfather and grandmother persuaded Lu Meihua to divorce. Lu Meihua always listened to his parents, but the only time he did not listen was to marry Fu Zhiheng to death, but she did not expect to end up like this. So Lu Meihua divorced under the persuasion of her parents. After Lu Meihua got divorced for half a month, my grandfather built a big brick house for each of the 3 uncles. Mom's marriage was thoroughly used by Chen Shimi's husband and her grandfather and grandmother. The most bitter thing was the mother and her, the oil bottle abandoned by her father. After that, it didn't take long for her mother, Lu Meihua, to marry a bachelor who was nearly 40, a gangster in the next village, under her grandfather and grandmother. For this reason, the grandfather's family received 1,000 yuan gift and only made 2 quilts for her mother Lu Meihua. This mother is very weak and useless, but the only person who treats Fu Yingying well. The stepfather is a drunkard, and he beats his mother after drinking, but the mother has always endured it and did not dare to resist. But once the stepfather beat Fu Yingying and wanted to take advantage of Fu Yingying, but the mother picked up a kitchen knife and warned that whoever bullies her daughter will fight hard. Thinking of this, Fu Yingying cheered up, not only for herself, but also for the weak mother. She couldn't wait to die. Rebirth 90's Genius Dr. Blessed Wife Chapter 6, Transformed the Baozi Mom. It was almost 12 o'clock. Fu Yingying started cooking and found that there was no water in the water tank. She didn't want to go to the village well to fetch water, so she entered the space, carried a dozen buckets of water, and filled the yard. Big water tank. Seeing that the fruit trees in the yard were sizzling because of the hot weather, he took water and poured water on several fruit trees in the yard. Because he was poor and couldn't afford fruits, Lu Meihua dug a few fruit trees on the mountain and planted them in the yard, but the varieties were not very good, the fruits were small, and the taste was not good. But this is a piece of love from her mother, Fu Yingying always remembered. At noon, Lu Meihua returned from the ground with her exhausted body. He saw the house cleaned up and smiled slightly. The child grew up and knew that she hurt her. "Mom, it's time to eat." Fu Yingying was very happy to see her mother again. "Hey!" Lu Meihua was moved, wiped the wet corners of her eyes, and came to the house with her daughter. A plate of fried beans, a plate of cucumbers, and a loofah and egg drop soup were placed on the table. Although simple, you can eat as soon as you get home. Without busy cooking, Lu Meihua is immediately much lighter. "My family Yingying has grown up," Lu Meihua said softly, eating her daughter's food. "It tastes very good. I didn't expect my family Yingying to cook so delicious for the first time." Yes, this is Fu Yingying's first time cooking for her mother. "Mom, I will cook for you in the future and help you work," Fu Yingying said coquettishly, thinking of matchmaker Wang and the 2 new quilts in the house. "Mom, matchmaker Wang came today and I gave it to you. I'm driven away." "Mom, I'm not against your remarriage. I think Li Dafu in Lijia village is a gangster, We don't know about it in the same village, and we heard that he still goes to the town to go whoring. Such a man cannot marry him." Lu Meihua, who was eating, was taken aback, with a bitter face, "But your grandfather and grandmother have already received the dowry, I can't marry me." "Mom, now it's a new society, and arranged marriages are not going to be initiated," Fu Yingying said quickly. "In addition, all those gifts were taken by grandparents and grandparents. Even if you expect your uncles to help you, Li Dafu said that I spent money to marry a wife, but I can't beat or scold me. With the greedy nature of the uncles and aunts, I will definitely not support you. When the time comes, I will still be our mother." "Girl." Lu Meihua's eyes were complicated and contradictory, and finally he sighed, "I don't have anything to honor your grandpa and grandma. Those wedding gifts should be regarded as honoring them. Mom has been burdened by the burden of life, the marriage failed, and the reprimand from her natal family has become cowardly and dare not resist. If you turn your face with your natal family, there will be no relatives." Fu Yingying was immediately unhappy after hearing this, and she retorted, "Mom, you are the most filial to grandpa and grandma. We have no money, but did you wash your grandpa and grandma's clothes? Last time, grandpa and grandma were sick. Did you serve in the county hospital? Every year when the farm is busy, our family has little land. If you don't work in my house, you have to help your grandparents and uncles to finish their work. Isn't it filial piety?" Lu Meihua's nose was sour when she heard her daughter's words. It turned out that everything she did was seen by her daughter, not because her parents said it was useless. "But your grandpa and grandma have already collected the money, and it's impossible to return it. We don't have any money. Rebirth 90s Genius Dr. Blessed Wife Chapter 7, I'll show you death. If you want your mother to be strong, you still need to take the strong medicine. The money was collected by Grandpa and Grandma, so let them deal with it. After eating, let's send the quilt back to Grandpa and Grandma's home. Whoever wants to marry will get married. Anyway, Mother, you can't marry. Fu Yingying continued to persuade, Mom, don't be afraid, I have the ability to provide you with old age care. I can't rely on Grandpa and Grandma. Think about it, since childhood, did they love you? You divorced the scumbag, and they got 4,000 yuan from the scumbag. That's why we can build a big brick house. Now it's about to be sold for you to exchange for money. Who are the parents? This is the enemy. Lu Meihua was taken aback. She had such a suspicion before, but her parents didn't admit it. She had no choice but to let it go. After all, it was her parents, Yingying, after all, it's your grandparents and uncles who are still facing us. Mom, their starting point is not to vent their anger for us, but to ask for money from the scumbag. To get back so much money, did they give you a dime? We are having a hard time, did they help us? Fu Yingying was so angry that she was about to cry. Mom can't be such a bun, otherwise she will be bullied all her life. Mom, do you think about Grandpa and Grandma, but you don't want me? Then Li Dafu is a bastard, rascal, nasty. The embryo, the widow, and the young wife are unclear, and they go to the county town to prostitute. If you marry Li Dafu, who can guarantee that Li Dafu will not do me? In addition, with such a stepfather, what kind of in-laws family can I find in the future? Me no matter, I don't care, if you marry Li Dafu, I will jump into the river and die for you to see. Since it doesn't make sense, let's force it to death. This is Fu Yingying's last potent medicine. Upon hearing this, Lu Meihua quickly put down the dishes, hugged Fu Yingying, and said quickly, Yingying, don't cry, don't think about it, don't marry me, don't marry Li Dafu, now send the quilt back. Has no husband, Lu Meihua cannot lose her daughter. When she heard her mother say this, Fu Yingying was relieved and wiped her tears, Mom, let's eat first. When we get to Grandpa and Grandmother's house, if you can't speak to them, let me tell you. Anyway, you can't marry Li Dafu, you must listen. My Mom, as long as you pass this hurdle, you can find a better partner in the future. Lu Meihua looked at her 13-year-old, slim daughter, very pleased, well, my daughter is so good, I just listened to her. After dinner, the mother and daughter carried 2 new quilts and came to the grandpa's house in the east of Liujia village. There were 10 large tiled houses in a row, which was quite spectacular in Liujia village. There are 4 uncles' houses, one for grandpa and grandmother, and the old uncle's family stays with him, the second uncle and the third uncle's house have 3 rooms in each. The family has been separated and the wall has been erected. Seeing these big brick houses, they used her unscrupulous scumbag money to build them. Fu Yingying cursed secretly in her heart, these vampires wanted to drink the last drop of mother and her blood. The aunt Wu Yumei saw Lu Meihua and Fu Yingying came over with the quilt. She was slightly taken aback, thinking that the 1,000 yuan gift would be enough for her to marry 2 daughters-in-law. Of course, she can't neglect the sister-in-law of the god of wealth, Meihua. The quilt is made of new cotton by my mother and I. The satin on the top is also very good, and it cost a lot of money. If you are not satisfied, just say that my sister-in-law will change it for you. Lu Meihua put the quilt on the rope for drying clothes in the yard, thinking about it, then Li Dafu is not a serious person, I can't marry. Rebirth 90s Genius Dr. Blessed Wife Chapter 8, I'd rather be ashamed than jump into the fire pit. Lu Meihua plucked up courage, but did not dare to look at her sister-in-law Wu Yumei's eyes. Huh? Wu Yumei was taken aback, as if seeing 1,000 yuan flying away from her eyes. She was immediately unhappy, her face drooping. This is set by my parents, how can you succeed if you don't get married? Where to put it? Lu Meihua is the youngest in the family, and Lu family patriarchal, no one cares about her, but dirty, tired, let her do it, anyone can reprimand her, and develop a cowardly temper. The only rebellion in this life was to marry Fu Zhihan regardless of life and death. In the end, she was abandoned and dealt a huge blow to her. Being scolded by Wu Yumei, Lu Meihua hurriedly backed away in fright, took her daughter and ran, plucking up her utmost courage. Anyway, if I don't marry, whoever wants to marry, whoever will marry. The old lady Lu who heard the conversation in the room was so angry that she picked up the big pipe and rushed out on tiptoe. Lu Meihua, you are an unfilial daughter who was born to deny me. Today I made it clear that you are from I crawled out of my mother's belly, my life was given to you by my mother, and if my mother asked you to marry, you have to marry. At this time, Old Man Lu and Uncle Lu also came out, angrily. Lu Meihua paled with fright, and her body trembled. The hero doesn't suffer from immediate losses. Fu Yingying knows that she and her mother alone are not the opponents of the Lu family, so she immediately pulled her mother and turned and ran out. Lu Meihua did not dare to stay here, and ran with her daughter. Fu Yingying ran and shouted, "Help, help, my grandfather and grandmother and uncle sold my mother to the gangster Li Dafu next door, help, help, old lady Lu, old man Lu, for 1,000 yuan. My mother." Lu Meihua was taken aback by her daughter, and she ran forward. "Yingying, it's too shameful for us to shout like this. Mom, listen to me, I would rather be ashamed than jump into the fire pit for the rest of my life." Fu Yingying shouted, pulling her mother and running around the village, immediately attracted the attention of other people. Now the Lu family's life is prosperous, the row of large tiled houses has long made the villagers blush. Now I heard Fu Yingying shouting like this, and they came out to watch the excitement. "Help, my grandfather and grandmother took the money my dad gave and wanted to sell my mom, help, help." Fu Yingying called whatever she thought of. The scumbags in the city are indeed hateful. They abandoned their wives and daughters, and finally deceived mother's kidneys. Fu Yingying remembers her eyes and will not let any of them go. Endless blood sucking and squeezing. If it weren't for grandparents, and uncles, they would ask for money from scumbags under the name of mother again and again, so that Wei Lanqin would not turn her eyes to her mother and cut off her kidneys. The old lady Lu behind, after Fu Yingying yelled, when the villagers watched the joke, they turned into anger. This Fu Yingying, like her unscrupulous father, is an unfamiliar white-eyed wolf. Lu Qinghu, the third son of the Lu family, stopped at the back. "Mom, if the younger sister doesn't want to marry, she won't marry. Now the life is better, we can't sell our younger sister to earn gifts." When Mrs. Lu heard this, she whipped her with a big cigarette on Lu's third child, cursing, "If you dislike my mother's money, then don't let my mother build a big brick house." Lu Qinghu still wanted to go out to stop him, but was stopped by the daughter-in-law behind. The parents-in-law and the mother-in-law had the final say. Whoever took the initiative would be unlucky. Fu Yingying's shout spread throughout the village. "Oh, this is a new society, and I actually sell my daughters." An old lady Zhou, who is similar to Mrs. Lu, said irritably, "Yingying is also poor. Everything that my father gave has been taken over by the Lu family. Now it is really discouraging to sell other people's mothers to the hooligans in the next village. That is, no wonder his family can afford to build a big tiled house. It turned out to be sold by her daughter. Meihua's life is so miserable. Without a man, her family would not treat her as a person. Who didn't know that Li Dafu was a big bad guy with sores on his head and pus on the soles of his feet? The Lu family collected so much money and sold his daughters. Then Li Dafu didn't want to learn how to grind, just how to grind it. Lu Qingjiang, the eldest son of the Lu family behind, and Lu Qinghe, the second child, soon chased up. "Little girl, what are you talking about?" Fu Yingying, pulling her mother to speed up. Passing by the door of Sun Xinghai's house, he was carrying a large bucket of pig blood and dirty water and poured it directly on the three brothers of the Lu family. The stench spread everywhere. Rebirth 90's Genius Dr. Blessed Wife Chapter 9, 2 Persuasion, Pig Killer. Lu Qingjiang, Lu Qinghe was so embarrassed that he stood stupidly on the spot, and the unpleasant stench brought them back to their senses. "Sun Xinghai, are you really blind?" Boss Lu became irritated. The three brothers were covered with dirty blood and smelly water. They couldn't continue chasing them. Watching that little girl's movie has run farther and farther, he was angry and annoyed. Lu Qinghe, Lu's second child, also surrounded him one after another to teach Sun Xinghai. Sun Xinghai was not afraid, threw the bucket, pulled out the pig-killing knife attached to the waistband, and rushed over and said, "I pour dirty water at my door and do your bird things. You ran to my door and acted like a fool. If I file a lawsuit, I can also sue and win. Sun Xinghai, no matter how bad, can't do the vicious things of betraying my daughter or sister. Sun Xinghai has become a famous pig killer with that bright slaying knife. Every day, he does fierce things with white knives going in and red knives going out. He is nearly 1.9 meters tall and has muscles all over his body. He stands up like a hill. The small brothers of the Lu family are about 1.7 meters tall, with thin arms and thin legs. They are clever in their minds. They have a sharp tongue. They usually bully women and children. They talk about Huangqiang. It's okay to talk to a strong man like Sun Xinghai. Two together, they couldn't beat Sun Xinghai, not to mention that Sun Xinghai still had a dazzling ancestral pig-killing knife in his hand. The two brothers of the Lu family immediately stunned, stepped back a long way, and walked out of the door of Sun Xinghai's house. Then they scolded, "I teach my sister, niece, what's up with you? Don't be the cat and mouse, and just take care of things." Sun Xinghai stood at the gate with a pig-killing knife, grinning, with a few drops of blood on his face, "Which really oozes people, I really can't control it, but I can manage the road at my door. From here I'll cut you off. Don't worry, I won't hack you to death. After all, I don't want to be sentenced to jail, but I will cut off a dozen pieces of skin on you, apply some alcohol, bandage it, and even minor injuries." Not even. The three brothers of the Lu family were so scared that they stepped back a few steps. The people in the village laughed when they saw this picture. The two brothers of the Lu family are the most bullying and fearful of hardships in the village. Now they meet a ruthless character like the pig killer Sun Xinghai. At this time, Fu Yingying took her mother's hand and had already arrived at the village chief's house. The village chief's house was hosting the police in the county census. Seeing Fu Yingying, Lu Meihua ran over in embarrassment, her face turned black. "Meihua, what's the matter with you?" asked the village chief's wife Lu Aunt, not letting the villagers make trouble and blocking the future of her own man. Lu Meihua was so frightened that she couldn't speak. Fu Yingying did not count on her weak mother, and rushed in front of her, saying, "Grandpa village chief, Grandma village chief, please save my mother. My grandpa and grandma took my scumbag's money and forced me. Mom is divorced. Since they can't get together, they divorced. But they charged Li Dafu, a gangster in the village next door, for 1,000 yuan, and sold my mother to Li Dafu, and they said they wanted to get married as soon as possible. My mother didn't dare to resist. I hanged myself and committed suicide at home. I saved my mother. Please help me, or I can only take my mother to kneel in the county and find someone to avenge my mother." Lu Meihua was taken aback. She didn't expect to hang herself. Rebirth 90's Genius Dr. Blessed Wife Chapter 10, Mayor Lu's Help. However, she also understood in her heart at this time that her natal family was unreliable and could only rely on her daughter, so Lu Meihua sat on the ground, howling, "I don't want to marry, I don't want to marry, I just need to guard my daughter." A smart person like village chief Lu suddenly understood what was going on. He gave his wife a wink and asked her to help Lu Meihua up. "This is a new society. You don't want to buy or sell marriages. Don't worry, as long as you don't want to, no one dares to force you to marry." "Thank you, Grandpa, can you talk to my grandpa and grandma? Just now, my mother and I went to tell them that they don't want to marry. My uncle, Grandpa and Grandma are still chasing us and want to kill us." Fu Yingying was frightened. With an expression, choked and said, "In the hearts of our children, the village chief's grandfather and the village chief's grandmother are the most fair. Please help us this time." "That's okay, I'll go there later and tell you something. If they force you, they will call the police and arrest them." Village Chief Lu promised that he couldn't understand the Lu family's behavior and built a big tile. "I feel like I'm better than others in the village, and I don't even look at who has the final say in this village." Two policemen from the county town who were conducting the census, saw a tall and familiar figure standing at the door and nodded to them. The taller policeman called Wu Sihai smiled and said, "Lu village chief, our people's police, since they encountered naturally, I can't just sit back and watch this matter. Let's take a look. Fu Yingying was taken aback. These two people knew Sun Xinghai. Now that the two police comrades have said so, the village chief Lu did not stop him, and nodded, well, let's go and see. So a group of people came to Lu's house. The old lady Lu was yelling at the door, and when she saw the village chief coming with two people with big caps, she was panicked. She was guilty and stopped swearing when she entered the house and tied the door from the inside. Village chief Lu failed to enter the house and ran into the Lu brothers head-on, saying, in front of the two staff members, I clearly told your Lu family that it is illegal to buy and sell marriage. If you force Lu Meihua to marry Li Dafu, I call the police station immediately and arrest both you and Li Dafu. The two staff members took a notebook and wrote down the house number of Lu's family. They also took photos of the two brothers of the Lu family, saying, I've taken a picture of you and recorded it. The ends of the world can also catch you. The two brothers of the Lu family shivered with fear, we dare not, we dare not. Old man Lu, Mrs. Lu also hurriedly opened the door, don't worry, I will return the bride price and never interfere with my daughter's marriage. Wu Sihai said solemnly, the palms of the palms and the backs of the hands are all fleshy, so patriarchal is more important. I remember you, and I will pay a return visit in the future. We conduct a census, not only to find out how many people there are, but to ensure everyone's rights, have a good life. Well, we are the masters of the country. We are now a new society, and we can't get rid of the feudal dregs. Village Chief Lu emphasized again and again that he should pay more attention to the Lu family in the future and not let them go crazy. Village Chief Lu and others personally sent Lu Meihua and Fu Yingying home before they went back. Lu Meihua wiped away her tears and hugged her daughter and said, Yingying, it's all useless to me. Let your child rush in front, and it will hurt you. Mom, don't think about it like this. It's not bitter. Fu Yingying persuaded, holding her mother backhand. You just jumped out of a fire pit of my scumbag. You can't jump into Li Dafu's smelly pit anymore. Here. If we can't live in the countryside, let's go to the city. Lu Meihua shook her head. She has no craftsmanship and no job. She can't drink the northwest wind when she goes to the city. At least there are 2 acres of land in the village where she has food to eat. After making a fuss all afternoon, Lu Meihua and Fu Yingying were a little tired. They just made some noodle soup and ate them, and then went to bed. It's hot. They sleep on bamboo beds in the yard with mosquito nets on them, which makes them cool. Nothing to worry about, the mother and daughter both slept very well, and the sky was still slightly bright, and Lu Meihua woke up. Fu Yingying was in a daze, hearing Lu Meihua's exclamation, got up quickly, thinking that Lu's family was making trouble, and ran to her mother and asked, Mom, what's wrong?